All right, welcome to the seventh video journal here, I guess, YouTube entry on our 24-hour of Lemons project, 1974 Mercury Capri. Here we have ordered and received a race seat. I am going to have to look up who we got this from and put it down in the comments. But we also got a what do I want to call it? The base, an adjustable base, so you can adjust it forward and back. And they actually had the dies preset for a 1974 Capri, so that was impressive. Anyway, we had that base, we had the seat, but first we had to finish this front subframe narrowing. Keaton is a better TIG welder than I am. I've had too many years using MIG welding, where it's just all right hand work and the left hand doesn't have to do anything, and my left hand is having a real trouble with the TIG situation where it's going to handle the filler rod. I'm getting better, but I haven't picked it back up as quickly as Keaton has learned it for the first time. So we're having Keaton do most of the welding, but here you'll see I'm double checking squareness and level and all that before I go ahead and start welding the two together, because Keaton's out of town this weekend, and so I'm welding this front cross member together, and it goes fine. I'm slow, and the beauty of this type of camera work is the stop motion stuff is that I can edit out big sections where I'm grinding the tungsten because I hit it with the filler rod or what have you, but the welding went fine. It just took a little bit longer than I'd like it to. It turned out really good penetration. It's solid. Everything's square and plumb, and couldn't work out better narrowing this thing. So here I want to fit it in and get a look at it under the engine. So I'm kind of positioning it, doing the final welding. Well, it's actually not the final welding. There's another set of welding we'll do. You can see it still is a little wide. The back part of it is wide, and we'll end up changing the angle on that here in a little bit and doing a little more welding. But right now we just want to double check the width. It ended up being a little bit snug between the frame rails of the Capri, which is good. That's better than a little bit loose. We had to grind just a tiny bit of material off it to get a perfect fit, but it worked out great. Unfortunately, this camera angle doesn't let you see as well as I'd like what's going on here as we do the fitting, but I've taken it back out, and I'm putting the engine back down now because I don't want to worry about the lift holding it. Now I've got the engine resuspended as I'm trying to figure out putting the Mustang hanging pedal assembly and the Mustang master cylinder with brake booster, making them fit in the Capri. Here we're doing measurements on the pedal assembly. There's trimming that's got to happen for it to fit in the space under the Capri that's available to it. It's not too bad. We had to shorten it up a little bit. I'm also cutting the holes here for the clutch hydraulic cylinder. It comes out through that notch we've just created. And then I'm trimming the plastic brake assembly with a hacksaw and a draw saw, a fine bladed draw saw. And it trimmed up really easily and fits nicely. But the brake booster was a little bit harder to do. with the brake booster, we had to, well, first of all, we're creating a hole here for the brake booster connection, the pedal connection to the booster and master cylinder itself. So we had to cut a hole in the firewall of the Capri for that. It lines up differently than the stock hole did. We also had to create a notch in the fender because this the Mustang vacuum assist there is 10 inches in diameter, where the Capri was like 7 inches in diameter. We use that 10-inch, that saw blade is 10 inches in diameter, so we were able to use it as kind of a template as we were making a notch for the for the actual brake booster assembly itself. So Keaton and I are cutting out that inner fender well, and it doesn't quite fit here. A little more trimming. Keaton gets that, and then we are in, and we line the pedals up inside the Capri with the same pedal location that they were, that the stock Capri ones were. And so by cutting this fender well, we made room for the bigger booster, better brakes, and leave room for the engine. So everything fits nicely. But the firewall on the Capri was shaped a little bit differently than the Mustang. The Mustang was basically flat, and the Capri had contours built into it that just were not working out. I thought we'd be able to space them with washers or something, but in the end of the day, we decided to cut that section of firewall. It's about a 6-inch by 4-inch section of firewall, and create a new section of firewall. So I'm working on that with the jigsaw. It's a heavier gauge metal that's going to go into the firewall. Keaton is putting in the base for the race seat. Here I'm working on this this new firewall section, and the table I'm working on, it jumps around so much I moved the camera up out of the way. But here's what it looks like. We had to weld a couple tabs to it for mounting, but all in all, this worked really nicely. It's heavier gauge again than the original steel. We bolted it up, ended up with no gaps in the firewall that we had to deal with, so that's good. That's another rule for the race. So here we have the seat in, but we have a problem. The Lemons has a rule that with your helmet on, you can't be more than 2 inches from the top of the roll bar. So you have to be 2 inches below the top of the roll bar. And when we put the helmet on, we're awfully close to that. So we said, well, what if we recline the seat a little bit? No, that didn't really help. And so we're kind of looking, how do we get an extra inch? Because really that's all we need. We were probably at 2 inches, but it was really close. And so Keaton and I are both 6 foot tall, and we're probably the tallest drivers. But if we end up with somebody taller, we wouldn't pass. And depending on what the helmet, I'm wearing that open face helmet, the full face helmet may be a little taller. So we needed to create more room. We decided to take the mounting bracket that had been sent to us, and we saw that we could take a little over an inch out of the mounting bracket and lower the seat overall a little over an inch, and that would give us 3 inches of clearance from the roof of the vehicle or the top of the roll cage once we get that in when we were wearing the helmet. So Keaton is welding up. We've cut the mounting tabs, and he's welding them back together on the seat. Since we had the subframe in for fitting, we decided to try the steering rack. This is the Mustang hydraulic steering rack, and if we can make that work, it could solve some other issues we're looking at with versus the manual rack from the Capri. We aren't sure yet which one we'll use, but we may be able to use the power steering rack, and that was a good thing. But now we've got the pedals in. We've we've used the engine for the sizing work that we need to. We're going to go ahead and take it out so that we can then work on, we're going to be working on putting in the struts next. And so having room is good. Here we're kind of doing some final fitting. Again, it's a little snug between the frame rails, so we ground off a little. Again, rather be a little snug than loose. Easier to take material off than put it back on. And then Keaton has lowered the seat mounting brackets to give more space. But we still are able to move the seat forward and back. Oh, you can also see we've added the steering column in to the car. So that's the Capri steering wheel. Here we do measurements. We've got 3 inches. And I had a fun time pretending to drive my race car. You can see the pedals are in there. We don't have the throttle in, but it's a throttle by wire. So that will be really easy to hook up when the time comes. So then we've got, I'm taking the subframe back out because we have one more adjustment we have to make. Towards the back of the subframe, there's ears that, not ears, but mounting brackets to hold. Oh yeah. So I was drilling a hole. I broke a drill bit in part of the work I was doing. I had to take everything apart to get the drill bit undone, but I could take it apart. That's the good thing. Anyway, now what we did was lob off the end of these support brackets, the ones part of the subframe that are towards the back of the car, towards the back of the engine bay. We cut off a few inches of the back of those that were wider than they needed to be. We then reversed them on either side, so the right-hand side went to the left and the left-hand side went to the right. They went up on top of the subframe, and that brought them up brought them in, first of all, where they would line up with the Capri frame, and also brought them up where they would get up where they could bolt to the Capri frame. So here they're all welded up. We're doing the final painting on this subframe and putting it in for what I hope is the last time. Well, not really for the last time. I know it's going to come out again, but we'll use this for fitting the struts. And that's coming up next. Thanks for watching. Hit like if you liked it, and more to come soon. I guess I would add that the subframe has taken a lot of time, but it's very important. It is our engine mounts, it's our steering rack mounts, and it's our whole front wheels, front end mounts. The lower control arms, and then that decides where the struts are going to hit. And so there was a lot of geometry in this, and it's a big check mark to get it done. And we're looking forward to putting in the struts. That's what we're working on right now. There'll be a new video with those soon. Thanks again, everybody, for watching.